Now, for all of you conspiracy theorists out there, this video is for you. It seems like the powers that be know something that we may not know. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions really quick. Is Bitcoin the new digital gold? Well, if you look at BlackRock's ETFs, that would point to that potentially being the case. But let's talk about it. Drop your answer in the comments section. Which is going to be better, gold or Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin going to be better than gold, or is gold going to be better than Bitcoin? I want you to lock your answers in right now, and we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to show you some crazy things that are happening right now that might point to one or the other, or maybe potentially both of them doing very well in the future. But this could actually either moon or kill crypto as a whole. And honestly, it's kind of outperforming Bitcoin right now. And we're going to get into that in just a second. So the first thing that I want to do is show you why I am making this video, because I think it's very pertinent information, at least right now at this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to present my screen and show you the things that I'm seeing in the market, because basically what I'm doing is I'm not listening to the news. I'm not listening to the media outlets and things of that sort. I'm looking at the money, because they're not going to tell you anything. The powers that be, I don't consider myself a conspiracy theorist by any means, but what I do understand is that there are powers in this world that run the world in a different way than we could ever probably fathom or imagine, because of the sphere of influence that they have, the amount of money that they have, which then in turn translates into the power that they have over the way that the world works and the markets behind our world and economy. So with that being said, I want to show you the very first thing, and I'm going to go ahead and share my entire screen, and we're just going to get into it, man. So let's look at gold. Okay, so this is the gold, and this is going to be very, very easy TA. Okay, so let's look at gold, right? Let's look at gold over the past 5 days. Gold is up 4.36% in 5 days. Now, let's look at silver, okay? Silver is up 10% in 5 days. All right, let's look at the S&P. Remember, this is in an election year in the United States, a very pivotal year. The S&P is stagnant, zero. It's up 0.06% over the past 5 days. And let's look at Bitcoin over the past 5 days. It's actually down 3%. So which one's winning? Silver by 10%. Then in second place is gold at 4.5%. The S&P is relatively flat, and Bitcoin has actually lost a little bit of value. Now, I'm going to take this a step further. A month out, you look at gold is at 23.11. It's hitting new all-time highs literally every single day, okay? It is up almost 9% in 1 month, okay? Silver is up almost 14% in 1 month, okay? Let's look at the SPY index. 2.2%, so relatively flat. It's up, but it's relatively flat. And let's look at Bitcoin. It's actually down 1%, so we're stagnant and we're pretty flat on Bitcoin as well. Now, here's the key thing that I really want to iterate to people. Let's look, Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, but gold is up 8.7% in 1 month. Let's look how much it's been up the past 5 years in total. 78.39%. So in 1 month, gold has pumped more than 10% that it has in the past 5 years. This is substantial. Let's look at silver, because this is where it gets crazy. Silver is up 80.5% in 5 years, okay? And it's up 14 of that percent in just the past month, okay? This is early buyers. This is early, okay? So let's look at the S&P. The S&P is up 81% over 5 years. Now let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is up 1,234% over the past 5 years. Here's the key integral fact of this. If you look at the culmination of 2022, this is the past 13 years of gold buying by banks, okay? Central banks buying gold. They didn't really buy that much gold, right? Until this past year, 2023 and 2022, where they have bought over 1,000 tons of gold. The central banks alone, just by themselves. You can read that right here. This is on gold.org, okay? 2 successive years over 1,000 tons of buying is a testament to the recent strength in central bank demand for gold. Central banks have been consistent net buyers on an annual basis since 2010, but they've bought 7,800 tons of gold in that time, and over 25%, because they bought over 2,000 tons in the past 2 years. Over 25% of that 13 years of gold buying happened in the past 2 years. Okay, now here's my point. Why does this matter, and what does this mean for crypto? Okay, and what does this mean for our economy as a whole? Gold is a safe haven asset. Silver is a safe haven asset. Okay, we all know that. That's a store of value. Okay, we call Bitcoin the digital gold. So BlackRock, Fidelity, all these ETF issuers are buying Bitcoin in troves, billions and billions of dollars. There was like $7.6 billion in one day in net inflows of them having to buy Bitcoin to issue their ETF shares. Okay, my point, gold and silver pumping that much in 1 month, okay, as compared to the previous 5 years, right? And gold and silver outperforming Bitcoin, and by substantial numbers, okay, over the past 1 month, right? Outperforming the S&P by substantial numbers over the past 1 month, right? In an election year, when we normally see, at least in the United States, the markets going up and doing very well in election years, right? What does that say to me? In my opinion, that means that something big is coming to our economy, whether it's the world economy or whether it's the United States economy, which kind of to a certain extent drives the world economy. It's coming. It's not coming right this second, but that's why I'm putting this video out, because in 6 months, 12 months from now, potentially right before the actual election happens or right after the election happens, I would expect something economically to be happening, whether it's to the United States dollar or whether it's to the world economies. My guess is it's going to be to the United States dollar. Okay. Now, with that being said, this is not going to happen over the next month. This is early. So if you watch the money and where these banks and all of these large level institutions are putting their money, do you understand how much money it costs, how much money it takes and volume to push gold up by 10% in a month, or silver by 14% in a month? The global markets, substantial, billions, hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars. Like, think about how much 1,000 tons worth of gold is worth. Okay. Now, if that much buying is coming in, then that makes you wonder, why are they going into safe haven assets and trying to get out of fiat, right? Why is BlackRock and Fidelity and all of these companies, why are they going into the digital gold, right? Are they hedging their bets, right? So this is where I start to kind of like pose all of these questions. Do the banks and institutions know that Bitcoin is the safest asset besides gold, physical gold? So they're hedging their bets with Bitcoin through these ETFs, right? In my opinion, there could be a huge move coming in the next 6 to 12 months. So pay attention for it. For both gold and silver markets, I think it's going to be up and to the right. Okay. Same thing for Bitcoin. I think it could potentially be up and to the right. But my bias is that if there's going to be a global type of economic collapse, right? And a lot of times let's just be real. A world war is not going to be fought on a battlefield. It's going to be fought in the infrastructure of countries. So if infrastructure starts going down, the internet is going to be less pertinent at that time. So that could make a massive, massive move downwards for cryptocurrency, and gold and silver being physical assets could be the safe haven asset, right? So in my opinion, the big guys aren't going to tell you that something's coming, but you can infer it and find out by watching where they're putting their money. Look at the big CEOs that are selling all of their stocks in their companies and buying physical retail or not retail, but real estate properties. Okay. They're all buying real estate. They're all buying land. They're all buying gold and silver, right? You can kind of infer where that is going by watching the money flow in these types of global markets like gold and silver as a safe haven asset. Why is so much money going into gold and silver right now? And my bias is that it is so early right now that this move isn't going to come for anywhere from 6 to 12 months, because the powers that be, they don't find out a month before something happens. They find out 6 months, a year, 2 years before something actually happens, because they have so much money and so many assets that it's not liquid, that they have to have time to position themselves, a long time. It's not like us where we have $20,000 in our bank account and we're like, oh, I'll just buy gold with it really quick and it takes us 10 minutes. That's not how it is for these guys. They have equity in companies, stocks, they have properties, they have all these different assets that they have to kind of in turn move into these physical assets like gold and silver. So my question, why is gold going up so much? Okay, look at the charts, look at the stats for gold, silver, as opposed to the S&P and Bitcoin over the past day, 5 days, 1 month, year to date, or 5 years, okay? Go and Google the amount of money or the amount of gold that banks are buying. Banks have bought over 2,000 tons of gold in a 2-year time frame. That's pretty nuts. Now, the Bitcoin ETFs have bought billions in Bitcoin. So if there's billions flowing into Bitcoin through these ETFs, right? And there's hundreds of billions flowing into gold and silver right now, where do you think that you should be positioned? I want you to drop your answers in the comments section. If this is content that you think is good, then I want you to tell me, and I will go much further in depth on this, and we will bring it full circle for where I see this happening, or what I see happening to crypto due to this and the possible scenarios, because there's a bunch of them, okay? And I don't want to waste everybody's time and have them on this video for 45 minutes explaining it if it's not something that you want to see. So tell me if it's something that you are actually interested in, and if it's something that you think is pertinent information that I should be dropping and talking about, and I'll gladly film videos like this. These don't take too terribly much of my time and editing and all that stuff, so I can film stuff like this pretty easily. What I want you to do is drop in the comments section. Are you picking gold or are you picking Bitcoin? Is it gold or is it Bitcoin? Drop it in the comments section. All you have to do is put BTC or gold. Let's see who thinks the best safe haven asset is going to be. And then I'll tell you what my bias is, maybe in the next video, if everybody says that they actually want to see videos like this coming in the future. Obviously, if you like content like this, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. Boom! Bang on the notification bell. Comment everything that I just told you in the relevant section. I appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.